how crazy is this as a beat writer to watch what's taking place every day? It's just sometimes I wonder, it's like, well, wait a minute, is this real? How nuts is this, my friend?
Yeah, Bernie, I've covered bad teams who've been bad, and it's it's not surprising. But this is a team that was expected to win 90-something games. This is a team expected to dominate the division. This is a team with all-stars all over the locker room. Jack Flaherty used a word today, unraveling. Like it's literally falling apart right now. It's there's more holes than there are fingers. One night it's the relief staff, one night it's the starting pitching staff, the next night they don't hit, one night they don't defend. It's surprising to see this much of a veteran-laden team, a team with so many all-stars, proven players, struggle this badly. It's just baffling is a great word for it.
And with Jack Flaherty, listen, we knew that two things were true. He was making progress. He hadn't turned the corner, but he was heading towards the corner. And then, his last two starts, especially today, were just horrendous. There's no other word to use. And he's an example of, like, he builds up some hope and everyone's getting a little excited and then it just all collapses again. And listen, I don't know how any team could win with this kind of starting pitching. I'm talking about consistently. It's just a bad situation right now. Yeah, Bernie. Jack went on quite the rant in the post game. Dropped more than a couple F-bombs, and he said the thing that upset him the most was he just had to be average today. The way the offense came to play today, just an average start, and he gets a win. He helps this team break out of the slump, and this team needs him to be the stopper. They need him to be the guy they can lean on. Miles Miklasz has gotten better. Jordan Montgomery's gotten better, but Jack's taken a major step back in these last two outings. And, 2019, as we're seeing more and more, was a long time ago. 2021, that 8-1 start that Jack got off to, that's a long time ago. There's a lot of things that have happened between them, and you just wonder if Jack can ever be that number one guy. Right now he's looking more and more like a third starter, and he's the third starter on a staff that's not getting it done. I mean, we've made a lot of the two-strike issue. They've talked about it on TV. I mean, this team is 30th in the league in two-strike home runs allowed. This team is 30th in the league in two-strike average allowed. It's not a fluke. It's not immediate creation. It's real, and it's ugly right now. Yeah, it doesn't have a dang thing to do with the catcher because it happens when Kisner's behind the plate as well as Contreras. And it's the pitchers, period. The roster composition or the rotation composition is part of it because, the relievers do have a high strikeout rate. The starters as a group do not. One way to eliminate the two-strike problem is to get more strikeouts, but I don't think the starters are really capable of that.
Yeah, they're a staff that pitches to contact and relies on the defense. Other than Flaherty, they've never had anybody who's been a high strikeout guy, and they just don't have the pitches to put batters away right now. And, Stephen Matt the other night said, I have no clue where my curveball is right now. There's no way you can trot him out there for a start on Sunday if he says, I have no clue where my curveball is right now. I mean, Stephen Matt is the nicest guy in the locker room. He might be the most athletic guy on the team, but the Cardinals are 0-6 in his six starts. He's 0-4 personally, but the team's lost all 6 starts. There's no way you can run him out there if he's a 2-pitch starter on Sunday afternoon.
And, John, please update us on that because I think I missed it, and I apologize. But as of right now, what's the plan for Matz?
As of right now, they're going to pitch him on Sunday. Oli Marmol did leave himself a little bit of a wiggle room. Matz was supposed to throw a bullpen today. They were going to watch it closely. They were going to monitor the shape and the sharpness of his curveball. He was supposed to use today's session to work on that curveball. And, the plan is to start him. But, they did leave themselves a little bit of a wiggle room to maybe make a change there. I think, there's a possibility it could be Connor Thomas, the guy who's won 4 games in a row in Memphis. If you're going to do a spot start, it's Connor Thomas. If you're going to bring somebody up and keep them here long term, obviously it would be Matthew Liberatore. They're not going to bring Liberatore up for a one-start deal. If he comes up, he's going to be here for a while. And I would not be shocked, Bernie, if tomorrow's not a heavy news day. I really think there might be a DFA or two. I think there's going to be 2 or 3 guys called up for Memphis. You can't keep running the same people out there right now. There needs to be, a kind of a jolt to the system and change some things up.
Yeah, I'm glad you broached the subject of a shakeup, because I'm wondering when's going to happen, and I'm also realistic. They're not going to fire the manager. They're not going to run off coaches, I don't think. And there's no big trades that are made this time of year. So to think it might be along those lines, it's unrealistic. But they got to do something. So you mentioned the possibility of some DFAs handed out. So we'll wait and see. But you're thinking along the same lines I am.
I think there could be some changes. Like you said, I don't think Ollie Marmol should be fired. He's not the one grooving, 2-strike pitches right down the middle. He's not one throwing 76-mile-an-hour curveballs and getting them knocked out of the park. He's taking a lot of heat right now, and obviously he should. When you're not winning, everybody takes heat, and that's the way the business works. But hey, the manager's not throwing those 2-strike pitches. The manager's not up there striking out with a man on third and less than 2 outs.
Right.
They need to change the mix right now.
Yeah, and he, the manager didn't choose what to do as far as the rotation coming into this year. That decision's made upstairs. The only thing that concerns me about Ollie is that he's getting testy. He's kind of showing the stress. Not that he should be happy. I understand that he should be stressed, but it seems to be getting to him. And, he's venturing into some areas that he shouldn't go in, like last night. He didn't directly insult the fans, but he kind of went there, and that's not a good thing for a manager to do, period, but especially when they can't get out of their own way and they can't win a ball game. You just don't go there. I thought the timing of that was pretty bad.
That was bad, and I think if he could pull some of that back, I think he would. He should have said what Paul Goldschmidt said today. And Paul Goldschmidt said, hey, I like that our fans have high expectations. He said, the record does not lie. He said, the fans are frustrated, and the record tells you why they're frustrated.
Perfect.
That's the message that should be going out there. Goldie hit the nail on the head there, as he usually does. He's a very calm, reserved guy who thinks before he speaks, and that was right on the money.
And these fans are great. Listen, I know there's a lot of fussing on Twitter, but everybody fusses about everything on Twitter, so nobody should ever take it personally, really. But these fans, the track record for decades now of, turning out 3 million plus strong every year and really giving this team the benefit of the doubt when they're not going well. And, man, Ollie was talking about, well, I've been in this organization 17 years, and, Well, these fans have been filling a ballpark for more than 17 years, so you don't need to tell anybody that we're more frustrated than the fans or anybody. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You just don't go there. So I hope he can sort of pull it together. I really do, because I saw Mike Matheny start to go down this path, and it concerns me. I think Ollie's smart, so you think he can sort of, I'm not going to say relax, but just calm down a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. 99% of the time, Ollie is a very calm and thoughtful guy, and puts thought and forethought into what he says. And last night was the frustration spilling over. Like it happened to Jack Flaherty today. Jack Flaherty was very frustrated while he was speaking. It happened to Ollie last night, and I hope people realize that Ollie is a great guy. He is a very intelligent person. Everybody in his family thought he was always going to be the most successful one, even though he was the youngest one, because he was so smart and so calm and so poised. But he's going through it right now. He's going through it. He's frustrated. He let his emotions get the best of him last night. At some point, this team thinks they're going to put it all together, but it better happen sooner than later.
A couple more quick things for our friend John Denton, MLB.com. Follow him on Twitter at John Denton555. Or is it? I always forget that. Is it 4 5s or 3?
You got it right. You got it right.
All right. Yeah, we're still waiting for the outfield to get going since the Jordan Walker move. Now, today, listen, I'm not one of these people just like because they lost a game, they're sitting here and say, well, nothing good came out of it. Lars Nootbaar had 4 hits. Carlson walked a couple times. O'Neill didn't do anything. But are you a little surprised? And I know it's been a short time. Are you a little surprised the outfielders that are here sort of haven't taken the initiative and just sort of raise the level of their performance? I'm a little surprised by that.
Yes and no. Bernie, we kind of talked through it last week when, I came on with you right after Jordan Walker was demoted to AAA. And, it's clear that move was not about Jordan Walker. The kid's going to be fine. The kid's going to be their right fielder for the next 12 years. That move was about motivating the other 4 and telling them there are no more excuses. You must perform. And, Tyler O'Neill's not performing right now. He knows that. He didn't need me to say that. He's not performing up to his capabilities. Dylan Carlson had a great swing left-handed last night. That's the sign of progress that they're looking for. Lars Nootbaar getting the ball off the ground. He'd been almost 70% on the ground lately. He had four singles today. He hit the ball hard. He's in the top 1% in all of baseball in walk rate. Lars Nootbaar is going to be just fine, but it's time for that outfield to start delivering, or they're going to be somewhere else. One of those moves could be Tyler O'Neill. He's not performing right now, so everything is kind of on the table for this franchise right now.
And at some point, they got at least if the guys aren't really doing all that well, or a couple of them aren't doing that well, at some point they got to give Yepez another look. I think, and I know that he's not a graceful defender, but you can use him at DH some. I don't know. You ever get a sense? Do you get the sense that maybe he's next in line and we could see him again relatively soon?
I think he has to be, Bernie. I think he's the guy who could be here tomorrow. He may be. Who knows? Maybe he's driving to St. Louis from Memphis right now. Like you said, they scored 2 runs in the playoffs, and they came off of a Juan Yepez home run. Juan Yepez is a major league hitter. It's just about, can you find enough at bats for him? He's a DH in every sense of the word. He's not a left fielder. He's not a first baseman. But if he's only a DH and you use that spot for Contreras a couple times a week, and you use it for Goldie once, use it for Arenado once, and Gorman's hitting the ball, there's not a lot of opportunities there. So, but they've got to mix it up. They got to try something different. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Juan Yepez is coming up 55 from Memphis right now.
And if you're wrong about that, won't hold it against you, because I think a lot of people feel the same way. So, John, you do a great job. I love talking to you. So, I can't thank you enough, but I'm going to thank you one more time. Thank you.
You're the best, Bernie. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
See you, pal. That's our guy, John Denton. Follow him on Twitter. Really good follow. Keeps the news flowing at John Denton 555. I think, Jim, here before we take a timeout, again, we've all been very disappointed and kind of salty about Dylan Carlson. And while I'm not overreacting to a handful of games, of all those outfielders, and I think Nootbaar is kind of in a separate category. Frankly, I do. But Dylan Carlson is making strides, and all you can do is say, well, that's a good sign, but will it last? But I appreciate the fact that it was very clear that management, Mozeliak, and also very clear that Marmol, they put it on the table for these guys. Okay, you want to play more? You want to stay steady, being in a lineup regularly? Okay, it's all up to you now. Show us what you got. And he's the one guy. Carlson's the one guy that seems to have said, all right, I need to wake up, man. Let's go. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to make the best of this. He's trying. He looks better. Not saying, okay, all-star game, here we come. Not saying that. But he's really taken the initiative. This thing sort of brought out the fire in him a little bit. And I think, look, I know that guy cares. I don't know why he just kind of drifts off and stops hitting. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but I appreciate the fact that at least he's moving for now in the right direction.
Yeah, the quote, like the baby steps, I guess we'll call it, they are happening. This week, knowing he's going to be in the lineup, he is shown each night a little something different. It was power last night. It's been ability to get a couple walks in. Another night he had a couple singles. It wasn't overwhelming, but he's moving forward as opposed to going, well, it was 0 for 4 with 3 or 2 strikeouts. As long as it's not that and we keep moving forward with him, I'm good with that. I don't have a problem with where he's at. So it's not where I want him to be, but right. there is a positive movement. The other guy, Tyler,
no.
I don't see much of any hope right now with where he's at.
My patience is exhausted, and I've been really patient with him, and probably to the detriment of my credibility. I'm out. My point being, if he starts to hit, well, good for him. But I'm not going to sit here. Let's just wait. Tyler's coming around. No, I'm done. Here's what I expect tomorrow. I think John Denton's absolutely right. I think Juan Yepez is on the way up. And I think, and if you look at his stats for a while now, he's been going sinking further and further. I think we'll see Alec Burleson option in Memphis tomorrow.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I really wouldn't. It's time to get him back down and see what he can get right.
Yeah. And listen, I still think the guy's going to be a hell of a hitter, and it's all there. He hits the ball hard, but there's point is though, it's important to hit the ball hard, and it helps you in the long run. But with this team struggling offensively, and the outfield in particular struggling offensively, I don't really care how hard he's hitting the ball. If you're not getting results, man, you just can't keep riding that way. You got to change horses. So. I'm sure that'll happen, or it looks like it's going to happen tomorrow. And that, what I like about it too, this team's in turmoil. This team's obviously bad. This team's probably demoralized to an extent, even though they'll deny it. Juan Yepez, and I mean this in the best possible way. Juan Yepez is kind of kooky. He's joyful. I mean, he bounces around. You always see him smiling. I mean, he's got nonstop energy. He's got a good attitude about everything. I think they could use something like that to lighten this group up. I think Nootbaar starting to hit is going to help because he'll feel like he can start, bouncing around again. Yeah. And, but Juan Yepez has a delightful personality. And this team, well, he's also got power. But this team needs both of those things right now. I mean, I think Yepez can shake it up to a point because he's going to change the personality mix.
I like that thought. Yeah. This is not the reason, but Matthew Boyd is a lefty. He's pitching tomorrow night. Why not let
Yepez,
you go. Let Yepez get up here and play tomorrow night.
Bingo. Absolutely.